Hello everyone, welcome. Tonight we're making a gluten-free lemon bar that is, I guess, a better for you version because we're using maple syrup and we're also using some coconut sugar. I'm gonna give everyone a minute or two to come on and then we'll get started. All right, hello everyone, welcome. My name is Jessica. I'm a integrative nutrition health coach and I do a lot of the healthier cooking demonstrations here with Mastic's March's Library. So tonight we're making lemon bars, which they're a healthier version of a lemon bar. We are using a sweetener like maple syrup, and we're also using coconut sugar, compared to your typical white sugar. And these are going to be gluten-free. So we're gonna do an oat crust and we'll get started. These are super simple, perfect summer treat. I keep them in the fridge, but I don't know, they're not just like really nice and refreshing. One of my go-to desserts or snacks for the summer, and they're great to bring somewhere as well. So like a barbecue or a picnic, wherever you want to do. But if you guys have any questions, always feel free to write a comment below and I am happy to answer them. If I miss anything, I always will go back and answer them. Also, there's no need to write down the recipe because I'm going to be sharing it with all of you right after this. So it will be posted in the comments and I guess we'll get started. So first of all, we're gonna start with our crust. And before that, I just preheated my oven at 350 and we're gonna make a oat crust. There's just a few ingredients. It is oats, oat flour, coconut oil, and we're using some coconut sugar. So the first thing is that you do need some oat flour, a cup and a half, but you could simply make your own oat flour. So what I do first is I have my food processor here. We're just gonna grind up some of the oats and make our own oat flour. You could buy it in the food store if you want to, but it's so simple, and you could also make a lot more flour, so this way you could use it in other dishes as well. So I'm just gonna pour some in here. And we just wanna grind it up so then it looks like a flour. And this way there's no need to do extra dishes because we're gonna make the crust right in here as well. So far in here we only have oats. We're just mashing it up so we make some oat flour. So it's as simple as that. And of course you could buy your own oat flour in the store as well, but this saves you time and also money. And then I just kind of put it in a little container that keeps it fresh. And you just want to make sure that it's pureed like flour. If there's a few chunks, that's perfectly fine as well. We're going to puree the crust, so it's going to process more. I'm just going to take this out and put it in here because we are going to measure it out. So we're using a cup and a half, and that should be plenty. And the oats that I'm using sprouted oats. They're from Costco. They're certified gluten-free, so if you do have a gluten-free allergy, you definitely want to make sure that your oats are gluten-free, even though oats are actually naturally gluten-free, but they could have been processed in a plant that is not necessarily gluten-free. So that's the difference. So we just want to measure out. So I actually processed pretty much the perfect amount. It's like, when does that actually happen? And again, you could process a lot more oat flour. So this way you don't have to make the oat flour every single time that you're using it, because oat flour is great in banana bread, cookies, cakes, so you could use it in a lot of baked goods. So we did 1.5 cups of oat flour. I'm just gonna set this to the side. And then the sugar that we're adding in is going to be coconut sugar. So I'm doing 1/3 cup. Coconut sugar is nicely, it's not as sweet as regular sugar. It's a natural sugar. Smells really good. To me, it doesn't really have a coconut flavor. Okay. So we're just gonna pour that in there. And now you can either use butter, or I'm gonna be using coconut oil, and we're doing 6 tablespoons. So whatever you prefer, and based on your dietary restrictions, either butter or coconut oil. I'm doing coconut oil tonight. So I just have an organic, unrefined coconut oil. Now it kind of depends. I mean, it's warm out here. It's warm in my house. So the coconut oil is kind of melty. So I'm just going to use that. I'm not going to, microwave it or anything. So we're doing 6 tablespoons. Again, everything just goes in the food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you could, obviously do this with a mixer if you wanted to. And I guess you could really do it by hand as well. So hopefully I don't lose count, because I typically always do. 3. 4. And this is going to help keep the crust together. And we'll do one more. I can't believe it's already June already. I don't know if you guys could see behind me, but I have my peonies from my garden. They're my favorite flower. I wish they were around all year round. All right, so we put our coconut oil in here. I'm just gonna pulse this so everything comes together, and then I'll show you our crust. So you wanna make sure that you're mixing this until everything is well incorporated and the crust kind of is sticky, it sticks to itself. So this way you're not gonna get like a crumbly crust that falls apart. So that's really important. Also too, just want to kind of like scrape down the sides. This way everything gets nicely incorporated. I'm just going to process it one more time. And while this is mixing, I have a square pan. These are my favorite because I find that, I don't know, the bars, a cake comes out really easy, but use what you have. This I want to say is about an 8x8. It's a square pan. You could use circle if you want. Whatever you have, that's what you should use. I'm just going to grease this with a little bit of coconut oil while I'm processing the crust. So we're just going to test this. The rest of the coconut oil, it makes a great moisturizer. It's antimicrobial. I'll process this one more time. And then we'll pat it down in the pan and we're going to bake it for about 10 minutes. do it. You could also use parchment paper too if you don't want to use oil or butter to your pan so it doesn't stick. And people also do parchment to easily get it out of the pan. Like I said, I just got these from Home Goods. I found that they're really easy to use. And now we're just gonna dump our crust right in this pan. And you're gonna wanna make sure that you pat it down. So this way, it's gonna form your crust. So for those of you that are just joining us, we're making our crust to our lemon bars. Super simple. We are using oat flour, we have some coconut sugar and some coconut oil, and that's it. And I have tried these, so I tried these the other night, maybe it was yesterday, with almond flour, and it did work and it came out good with almond flour. The one thing that I did note with the almond flour is I felt like it browned much sooner than the oat flour. I also felt that it was like more moist, and it makes sense, right? Oat flour, similar to oatmeal, it really absorbs the water and the moisture. So, you know, it did work with the almond flour. If you're looking for a grain-free option, that would be a better alternative, but your timing in the oven might just depend on, you know, your oven and whether or not it browns sooner, but just that to note. So you just want to make sure to evenly pat this down. And you don't really have to make a crust. It's really not necessary. The lemon bar, the lemon filling on top is really going to hold in place. And when these come out of the oven, you're gonna wanna make sure that you let them cool completely before getting them out of here, especially even with this warmer weather, depending on how warm your house is. I recommend definitely even keeping them in the refrigerator. This way they set much nicer and they're easy to handle and they don't break apart. So I patted everything down really nicely. And I'm just gonna pop these in the oven. It's at 350 and it's just gonna go in for about 10 minutes. All right, so I'm just gonna pop this in. All right. Hopefully you guys, I don't know if you could hear, but the ice cream man is outside, so you can hear his music. Now we're gonna start with our filling. Again, super simple. We're only using a few ingredients. We're using lemon juice. We're using some coconut flour to thicken up our mixture. We're also using maple syrup, lemon zest, and also eggs. So we're gonna start with our eggs. I have 4 large eggs. I have them right here. Just wanna make sure you guys can see the bowl. So we're just gonna crack these right into the pan. I don't know if you guys can see, these are from my chicken, so I have some blue eggs. So 2. 3 and 4. And then we're just gonna whisk this. All right, so we have 4 large eggs. We're just gonna whisk it. Make sure you guys can see and move this around. Now I haven't made it, but you could use lemon juice with this instead if you want a little different. Again, really just nice and refreshing for the summer. And this is a great recipe that you could put some raspberries on top or maybe some blueberries or lemon slices as a decoration. So I'm definitely a chocolate person, but in the summer, a lot of times I don't feel like it. It's too hot. I want something more refreshing. And I like that tang from the lemon. So we just have the 4 eggs in here. And then now we're gonna add our lemon juice. So you could use fresh squeezed lemons, or one of my hacks is to buy this organic lemon juice. So you might have seen me use this before. The brand is Lakewood. It's Lakewood organic, it's pure lemon juice. So this is not from concentrate. They are squeezing lemons in here, and it is shelf stable until you open it. So I love having this on hand because it's easy. It's in my fridge. I always have it. I don't have to worry about buying fresh lemons. And then sometimes, I don't know about you, but you buy fresh lemons or limes and then they go bad. So this to me is very convenient. It also, again, is pure lemon juice, so the quality is really great, and it lasts in the refrigerator. I also add lemon juice into my salad dressings. I also add it into my water in the morning. So it has a lot of uses, and you can buy a smaller size. But you could find this at Stop and Shop. You could find it online or any healthy grocery store as well. But I definitely highly recommend, unless you want to buy your fresh lemons. And for today, right, I'm using fresh lemons for the lemon zest. But honestly, if you don't have the fresh lemons and you don't want to use the lemon zest, that's okay as well. So, you know, this recipe can kind of be altered based on what you have available. And we're gonna do, so I have the lemon juice already measured out. We're doing about a 1/2 cup. So we're just adding that into the eggs. All right. And then our sweetener, I'm using organic pure maple syrup. I love maple syrup, but you could also use honey. That's a great option as well. So depending on your preference. But I am using this maple syrup. It's an organic maple syrup just from Costco. So we're doing 6 tablespoons about that as well. And obviously you could always alter this based on your level of sweetness. All right. And if you're watching your sugar, you could, of course, do less maple syrup or cinnamon, honey. So we have that. So we have our maple syrup in here. And then we're going to add in our fresh lemon zest. So you can see how bright and yellow that is. So this is a bake. You know, we're gonna bake this twice because we're baking the crust in the oven, and then we are going to add in the filling. So we're doing about a tablespoon. I mean, I'm doing 1 lemon of zest. Again, it really freshens it up, gives it great flavor. I love citrus, so up to you. I mean, maybe you want to spice up your life and add in some like orange zest or something like that. That might be fun. But I definitely see this recipe working with lime juice and lime zest as well, kind of like a key lime bar. So we're just adding this all in. You just want to make sure that you don't get the white parts because that's going to be bitter. All right. So we want to make sure that we have all that zest. And again, this recipe will be posted right after. And you could, of course, you know, if you don't have a gluten allergy or you don't want to be gluten-free, you could, of course, you know, interchange some of the ingredients. The last thing that we're going to add in is some coconut flour. So the coconut flour is going to help thicken this up. And you just need a tablespoon. So I have coconut flour right here. I'm just gonna add that in. And you'll see like coconut flour, I mean, you could kind of see the coconut in there. So you will be able to see it in the filling as well. But to me, these don't taste like coconut. So I guess it just depends on your preference and what you're used to. And again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. You could quickly, if you have all the ingredients on hand, you could quickly make this in a half hour or so. I'm going to get the crust out now, and then we're going to put this on top. I'm just going to actually get a... You just want to make sure your counter, of course, is coming out of the oven, so you want to be careful because it's going to be hot. All right, so that was about 10 minutes. I have our crust here, if you guys can see. Ooh. I guess I don't recommend doing that because it did slide a little bit. It went back together. So of course it's not fully cooked right now because we're going to put it back in the oven. So I'm just going to whisk this one more time, and then we're going to just put this on top. Ultimately, you want to put the crust in for the full 10 minutes. This was like 2 minutes shy, but you want to cook it for about 10 minutes. And then even if you could let it cool for a few minutes, this way the crust has time to settle. Alright, so you guys can see everything is in there. It just went on top. Alright, so we're going to put these back in the oven, and it's going to take anywhere from like 18 to 22 minutes. You want to make sure that the filling is set, and you'll know when it's done. So I'm going to put these back in the oven. We'll put it for about 20 minutes. And now I have the finished product. So these are just a few of them that I made yesterday. And you could see these are the ones that I made with the almond flour crust, but they hold up really well. Again, they're just a nice snack or a dessert, sweet treat, something a little different and really refreshing for the summer. Again, easy to make as well. And you know, if you wanted to bring these to someone's house or have them at your house, I would recommend serving it with some fruit. So you could do blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, whatever you have. It also brightens up the lemon bars as well, but they're super simple to make. They're really delicious. Keep them in the fridge because, again, the warm weather, there's no preservatives, and you want to make sure that they hold together. And they definitely hold together when they come from the fridge. So, of course, this is my piece because it's huge. I have to learn how to cut my sizes the same, but I hope you'll make this recipe. I'm going to post it on Facebook now, and if you have any questions, feel free to pop them below, and I'm happy to answer them. But I hope you enjoyed this cooking demonstration, and thank you for spending your night with me. So have an amazing night. Let me know if you make these lemon bars. Again, super simple, easy and delicious. I will post the recipe now, and have a great night. Bye-bye.